On this episode, we are myth busting on Dad's OBS big block truck. So we're back in Dad's OBS Ford big block truck for some more scientific testing, and the throttle cable pulled apart the last time he drove it. So we are trying to make it up my steep driveway with that doesn't do anything is what I'm saying, and I might in fact be stuck right now. So what we're doing is idling down the street, and we are going to get a run at her and see if we can make it up the driveway. Here we go. So we're gonna start rolling. I'm gonna kick it into second gear. Okay, get a little speed. Get a little speed. Pray to God there's not cross traffic. Okay, second gear, boom. Okay, we got 5 miles an hour. Once again, nothing. Oh, 6 miles an hour. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Oh God, losing momentum. Oh, come on. Oh, it's creeping. Oh. All right, now let's fix this in the garage so we don't have to do it on the side of the road. We in the garage. We are gonna fix the cable on this thing. We're gonna test everything. We're gonna debunk, I believe, some theories that have been posted in the comment about why this EFI guy's throttle body kit isn't effing junk, which I think it is. Then we're gonna try some of the things. We're gonna test everything: compression, vacuum, check plugs, check the fuel filter, and we are also going to try bumping the timing up a little bit and see if we can make this thing beat my big red pickup. Doubtful, because that thing's a hoss. This is his 96 F250 Super Cab short bed, 460 E4OD 410 gear F250. If I didn't say that already. In previous episodes, we installed this EFI guy's throttle body kit, and we're severely disappointed in it. But there were some points raised in the last video about this that I would like to address before we totally condemn it. Things like throttle body size. Is the TPS sensor bad? Is it fuel mixture? Is the throttle body actually smaller than the new one? Is there a base engine problem? The first comment was possibly throttle position sensor, which comes with the kit. So it's the new one that came with this kit, and it's actually a Dodge. I never tested this before to see, but so Ford computers, I'm gonna have to get something to probe that with, but Ford computers want to see just under 1 volt at idle, at closed throttle. Should be between like 0.8 of a volt and 1 volt or 1.1, and it should sweep gradually all the way to 5 volts at wide open throttle. So if we don't have that, something is not correct. But if we do have that, then that's ticked off the list. There's 3 wires, so let's see how lucky we get on the first try. So on a Ford TPS, you have a 5 volt reference signal, you have a ground, and then you have a signal return to the computer. Signal return to the computer is which one we're going for. So there's a potentiometer inside of there, which is a variable resistor. So the more you move the throttle open, it decreases resistance and returns more voltage to the computer, which lets it know that you want more woo-pows. Okay, so the first wire has 5 volts solid. Come on, baby. And if I can hold it on there and put the throttle at the same time, it should stay. Yep, and it does. So that's the reference. Okay, we've got like, ow. How many times can a guy stab his finger doing this? Okay, we've got 0.7. That's the money. Ooh. .6, that ain't good. 0.7, 3.68, just under 4. So that ain't good. I don't know if that's it, but okay. So TPS, not adjustable. You can see that because I had the holes there, or you know, as Vice Grip would say, because of the way it is. If it was adjustable like a lot of Ford ones are, these holes, these mounting holes would be slotted. So I had to unbolt the throttle body and get it up here to get at it. That's kind of a pain in the ass. So pretty sure, like I said in the original video, that that's a Dodge Dakota V8 throttle body, like a Dakota with a 360 or whatever. So we're going to try to find us one of these at the parts store and give the benefit of the doubt and swap it around and see if we get any change. Not getting my hopes up. Here we go. The throttle position sensor is more crucial if you have an automatic transmission, because it also decides things like shift RPM, torque converter locking and unlocking, and things like that, along with fuel mixture. So now, after finding that last night, the reason that I believe this thing is slower is, for one, the computer's never seeing wide open throttle. That ain't good. 3.5 volts or whatever, that ain't gonna do it. And it's just because it physically does not travel far enough on that Dodge throttle body. And everything is as it should be. The throttle body opens all the way to the stop. The throttle blades are open all the way 90 degrees. But that does not travel that throttle position sensor enough to get to about 4.5 volts. Or we were going to check fuel mixture, we were going to bump timing, switch wheels and tires, run it against my other truck and try to get it to beat. But after I saw that with the throttle body, that the way the kit is made and designed and adapted, that there's never, that throttle position sensor is never going to read high enough no matter what you do. You would have to probably adapt another throttle position sensor like a Ford one to that throttle body. They probably work fine on Dodges. I don't know. I'm not a Dodge mechanic, but usually it's however the engineers program the computers that this voltage is wide open throttle. So that's my opinion. If somebody has any science and actual factual data that can disprove that, I'll listen to it, of course. Okay, so this is what we have to put the truck back to stock, basically. All the stock junk that we took off, upper intake plenum, brackets, hoses, the old stock throttle position and IAC motor connectors, factory air box, and then fuel filter for good measure, plenum gasket, EGR gasket, and a new factory throttle cable. Boom. Why does that look used? I'm sure that's fine. Okay, checking plugs. It does appear to be pretty freshly tuned up. Come on, sparky plug. Okay, really? What is your problem, guy? There we go. No? Huh? No? Ugh. Guys, if you don't have one of these ratchets, get you one. I think my brother gave this to me years ago. It is a Stanley, and the handle rotates. Okay, so the porcelain and everything looks new, but we're gonna find out together. And I don't remember if I've checked plugs on this before or not. That looks pretty dang good. It is a Bosch double iridium, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But it's a normal electrode type. It's not that funky, weird Bosch little cone platinum one. So that looks just fine. It's got a nice tan on there. Looks to be burning pretty good. So I'm not going to pull every one of them. I will pull maybe one more on this side, one or two on the other side, and I'll let you know if they're any. I'll let you know if they're any different. If they're not, then you won't see anything else on this matter. Okay, guys, I pulled 2 plugs from each side, and they all looked just like that first one I showed you. Pretty beautiful, and that they've been changed not too long ago. And these trucks do call for platinum plugs. I know I put regular copper ones in my truck. They seem to run a little better with those, to me anyway. But this thing looks like it's been tuned up recently. The fuel filter is somewhat questionable of age, so we'll go ahead and change that. Otherwise, it looks like we're putting the stock intake stuff back on here. I wanted to do more with the EFI guys kit, but honestly, it's pointless. Like after finding that throttle body or that TPS sensor, the throttle position sensor issue, it's never gonna work right. It's just not well designed or engineered. Let's get you set up here. Oh yeah, that's gonna read backwards. Hold on, let me turn you around. The camera inverts the view, so it's like a mirror image when you're using the front facing camera. So I got a vacuum gauge hooked up, and I'm gonna start it. As you can see, it already reads about 1 or 2 inches of vacuum, so it does read high, but we are going to compare it to what my pickup reads. Call that 18 to 19 inches of vacuum when it settled down. It's probably about 18 because that gauge is 1 or 2-ish high. Honestly, I would be surprised if my truck reads that high. All right. So now we're gonna put the old stuff back on and do some more testing, see if we can figure it out. Just when I thought that I wouldn't have anything nice to say about this kit. It uninstalls really easy. That was like 7 minutes without having everything staged and ready. So there we go. Now we just have to we'll go ahead and put the new throttle cable in, take that junk off of the EGR valve, and we'll have to reroute some vacuum hoses and put the stock end back on this guy and the factory connectors back on the idle air control there and throttle position sensor there. But luckily this truck is so nice and low mile that when I put this on here, I put it on in mind that I might take it back off someday. So here we go. Okay, new gasket is in there, so we're ready to rock. Let's do a little bit of myth busting. So this is why I think that people like this kit. Here is our stock snake head, cobra head, upper intake plenum, whatever you want to call it. So here's the linkage on the side. This shaft, which is just basically like an idler shaft, as you can see, the throttle blade is way back in there. So this shaft is not attached to the throttle blade, this one is. So as you open the throttle, you can see that it's not a one-to-one. It actually, I don't know, it looks like the throttle blade one is actually moving more. I don't know. But I always thought that Ford did this to make it so that it's not too snappy right as you get into the throttle. Because it does seem like for that first little bit of travel, you don't get as much movement and then you get more towards the end. So they open all the way. The Dodge throttle body is just straight up one-to-one. You can see where the linkage hooks goes right to the shaft. So every bit you're moving the throttle is moving those. So my theory is that the bottom, like half throttle and below, you're actually opening these throttle blades more than you are on the stock unit. So let's grab a caliper and see. Get you some, buddy. Okay, let's grab our caliper and see if they are in fact the same size. So the stock 460 is twin, about 52.5 millimeter. The Dooge at the top is 50. So that's actually myth confirmed. They are smaller. Well, I can't really get at the bottom because of this adapter. But they look like they're actually even a little smaller at the bottom. That's still about 50 on the adapter. I can't get all the way up there. So, yeah. They are about 5 millimeters smaller. So, whoever said that in the comments, good job. You were right on. Anyway, moral of the story, don't put Dodge parts on your Ford. Okay, I think we're about ready to rock here. So just to show you what I earlier told you about Ford throttle position sensors, before I put the heat shrink on my connections, we are going to test this one. Put one of them on a good ground. Okay, 5 volts on the brown wire with a white stripe, so that is the reference voltage. Got about 1 volt on the gray with a white. Nothing on the white with the red, so that one will be the ground. So on our gray wire, we got about 1 volt. 4.7 volts of wide open throttle. How about that? What did I say? Every good Ford throttle position sensor that I've tested had about 4 3/4 at wide open. So EFI guys stuff is no bueno. I'm going to heat shrink those babies up, throw the airbox on. We're ready to hit the road right after I wreck myself. Yes, I know, awesome hair. Your first clue that your fuel filter hasn't been changed in a while is how much swearing is involved when trying to get the quick connect clips out of there. Look at that. That's how Western stuff got under there. And I have the proper tools to do that. So, she ain't been changed in a while. If you want to know how bad it is, once you get it out, plug both sides like so. Boy, my fingers aren't quite long enough for that. Anyway, so I'm going to shake her up real good. This is the inlet side, that is the outlet side. So shake her up real good. Oh, buddy. I mean, that's not ideal. She flows backwards, but yeah, that was a clean jug, so I would say she needed changed. Now, is that going to make any difference? I don't know. But to find out. Here's your pro tip, since these are in such an awful spot. Thanks, Ford, for not, making this line 3 inches longer and putting this right in front of the fuel pump, or putting this right in front of the midship fuel tank. That would have been too easy. But here's your pro tip. Take the whole bracket out with it. There's 2 10mm nuts on the frame. Put the new one in there. You can see that fits in that groove there. And we're going to snap the rear line on first. Put this guy up in there, bolt it down, snap the front line on last. I'll show you where it goes. Right up in there. So I can't hold the phone and the flashlight and film and put this in, so we'll bring you back. So that is where she goes right there. Why in the Ford could they not just put it right there? Oh, buddy. Well, I mean, at least they don't hate their customers as bad as General Motors. Test driving Dad's truck after I got all the stock stuff back on and finally changed the fuel filter, which was a little dirty, and sure enough, gave her a wide open from a dead stop, and that bog after the 1-2 shift is gone, which doesn't shock me because it wasn't there before we put that throttle body kit on there. So obviously this truck was already a little slow for what it is, but I can't find anything else wrong with it. I'm thinking it's probably just the way it is, or the wheels or tires. So we are going to end up bumping the timing up to 12 degrees. I don't know if we'll end up making this thing any faster than it was in the end. We just got back to square one, but I can say with confidence that I would not recommend that 460 EFI guys kit to anybody. Also, if anybody thinks that they could do something with this kit, hit me up in the comments. I'll sell it to you cheap. And I mean, if you think I'm wrong, you can do all your own kind of testing with it. I took it all back off the way it was, so it could definitely go on another truck, no problem, if you want to experience the heartache. Well, there you go. All put back to stock, bumped the timing 2 degrees, checked the plugs, and I got fresh spark plug wires on there, so let's take it out for a rip and see how it does. Okay, so buzzing down country roads with the new spark plug wires, and she is running good. So it's now equipped the same as my Big Red pickup. Stock 460, it has exhaust, still stock manifolds and everything, but 12 degrees initial ignition timing. I'll stick a link for the earlier videos up here because I can't remember. I think I ended up setting fuel pressure at 45 psi up from 40 on both of them. So when I pulled plugs to check them, the spark plug wires were really stuck on there, like somebody didn't use dielectric grease when they put them on. The boots were stuck on the plugs, and I really had to try hard to get them off and used like spark plug pliers, insulated ones, and I poked a little hole in one of the boots and it was making them jump spark, basically leaking out of the plug boot, and that causes misfire. But that was a new issue. That's not something that's been going on the whole time. So yeah, now she's running good. Those were just cheap spark plug wires and they've been on there a while, so swapped them out. Now she runs great. I am going to do a 0 to 60 run. Now it's much cooler outside, so this ain't going to be a fair comparison, but what we can do is go get my big block truck and run it on the same day, or ideally, if I have another driver, we can run the two against each other and see what we get. But first, here's 0 to 60 with truck put back to stock, fuel pressure bumped up, and timing bumped up. 3, 2, 1, go. And 60. Definitely a noticeable difference with how it does not bog after the shift. So lessons learned: definitely don't trust the internet. I think it was Abraham Lincoln or Benjamin Franklin that was quoted as saying, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet." Don't trust parts unless they have proof, like dyno proof or video of 0 to 60. You know, these supposedly 2-second faster times while towing a trailer. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh, excuse me, I'm just getting over being sick, so anyway, yeah. And on these trucks, since I've learned in this whole year-long or whatever debacle that this has been, don't bother upgrading the intake until you have upgraded the exhaust, and that means headers and good flowing exhaust. That's what chokes these guys above 3,600 RPM or so. So that's where you need to start if you want more power. Learn from our mistakes so you don't have to make your own. Thanks everybody for watching. See you on the next one. This pickup's going away, but don't you worry. We still got plenty of big block stuff to do. So today's the day we were gonna race the trucks, Dad's versus my truck. And
oh, yay!
Yeah.
Maybe not yay for you, but yay for me.
There's Dad's truck, and there's Big Red. It's not a bad snowstorm for Montana at all, but the problem is, if we go try to race, we're not going to get any sort of traction. So it's any data will be null and void, huh, Roni?
Whatever that means.
Not mean. So anyway, I guess this is what we're gonna do. I'll show you the cut from Dad's truck running the other day, and then
who are you talking to?
my phone.
Who on your phone?
The internet. And then I will cut to me running Big Red, and we'll see how that compares. Pretty sure Big Red is still faster.
Bye.
3, 2, 1, go.